Rivalry week is here. It's unlike anything in sports. College football is king when it comes to bad blood between rival schools. And this is the time in which most of them get together. It's just a game, if you love football, that you just dig in, along with the Thanksgiving spread, of course, this weekend. We got Steve Merrill on the line, Pro Sports Info. Steve, we appreciate you stopping by as always.
Hey, Mark, doing well.
We had difficulty selecting games, our three-pack, because obviously the big games are all over the place and the bad blood in the rivalry. But this is one that is typically talked about as the best. Ohio State, Michigan, the game in Ann Arbor. Michigan playing for pride. The Buckeyes keeping the college football playoff hopes alive and not knowing what the selection committee would do with them with a loss as a 9-point favorite at the Big House.
It's a shame that Michigan has that second loss. You know, this is a team that's really playing good football right now at 9-2. Had they only lost one of those games against Wisconsin or Penn State, then this game would mean a whole lot more for them. I don't think they're going to pull the upset anyway, but if they were to pull the upset here and only had the one loss, they'd be in the mix. I think Ohio State's okay. Even if they do lose this game, they still have a chance at that Final Four. I do rank them as the #1 team in the country. A very impressive win last week against Penn State. Nittany Lions got the backdoor cover. You know, they scored late there, but they were down by more than 3 touchdowns early, and Ohio State basically coasted. And keep in mind, the Buckeyes had a 3-1 turnover deficit last week and still won the game by 11 points against a defense that had allowed only 13 on the season. So this is a really potent offense. Even though they only scored 28 last week, that was against a team that gave up only 13 on average. It's still 15 points better. On the season, they're outscoring their opponents by 24.5 points more than their opponents allow on average. They now face a very good Michigan defense that gives up just 16 points a game. But as we know, Michigan has struggled against top 5 teams over the years with Harbaugh. They struggled to stop that rushing attack, especially against Wisconsin earlier. We'll see where this line settles. Right now, it's around 8.5, 9. That's right where my power rankings are. Hard to go against Ohio State right now, even though this is a big number for a home dog like Michigan. But I just need to see the Wolverines step up and play better against the top team, especially a good running attack. We haven't seen that yet.
And the stats were heavily in Ohio State's favor. As you mentioned, they gave the ball up 3 times, one of those diving into the end zone for a touchdown, and the other 2 times deep in their territory that handed Penn State points. Ohio State won it by 11. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. The Sooners trying to wrap up the Big 12 regular season title, keep their college football playoff hopes alive. If you look at these 2 teams and their results over the past month, 5 games, 6 games, they look like identical teams because Oklahoma has had issues putting away decent marginal teams in the Big 12, like TCU last week, only winning 28-24 as an 18-point favorite. Oklahoma State comes in with an 8-3 record, and they are a 13.5-point dog at home.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the good defensive teams that we talk about a lot in these profiles, these highly ranked games, and that's because normally the highly ranked defensive teams are some of the best teams in the country. You know, Ohio State gives up 10.5 a game. Michigan gives up 16. I referenced Penn State was allowing just 13.5. But then you look at Oklahoma, they give up 25.5 points per game this season. Oklahoma State gives up 26.5 points per game. That's why this has always been a shootout. The over-under is 69.5 for a good reason. It'll be a high-scoring game here, and I just don't trust this Oklahoma defense. You know, obviously they shut down Baylor in the second half, which was really tremendous. They were down 31-10 at halftime a few weeks ago and then held them scoreless. I don't know if that was Oklahoma's defense or more Baylor just collapsing. I think it was a little bit of both. Last week, a good bounce-back win. That could have been a flat spot after that emotional victory against Baylor. They held on against TCU, but they still only won by 4 points as an 18-point favorite. My power rankings only favor Oklahoma by 9 points in this game. The line is currently anywhere from 12 to 13 in different locations. I've even seen some 13.5s. We'll see if it keeps to climb by Saturday. Either way, though, I think the value is with Oklahoma State here catching double digits in what will probably be a high-scoring back-and-forth game once again.
Again, there are all sorts of big games across the country, so what you need to do is go to prosportsinfo.com, catch Steve's slant on all the games. His angle, his product is right there for not only college football, but the NBA and the NFL as well. Alabama and Auburn, let's pick that one off. Auburn's at home. They're a 3.5-point underdog. Of course, Tua Tagovailoa is out. And this is, of course, the Iron Bowl and not necessarily playoff implications, although Bama still holds out some hope.
Yeah, what's interesting, too, about Alabama is they've been a pass-happy team this year under Tua, and that's not going to be the case here with Mac Jones. They're going to have to run the ball more. This is a team that averages less than 170 rushing yards a game, which is really amazing for a team that averages 48.5 points. The key is going to be, can they run the ball here against Auburn? Auburn has been very good against the pass this year. They've been a shutdown pass defense. They've been decent against the run, but not as strong as they have against the pass. So Alabama's going to have to establish a running game here. I think they will do so. Very difficult to put a point spread on this game because Tua is obviously not only worth several points, but the backup situation with Mac Jones is so uncertain. He played well last week against a terrible team, limited action against Western Carolina, an easy 66-3 win. Keep in mind, they were a 57-point favorite in that game, so don't read too much into that 66-3 win. Same thing for Auburn. They were a 48-point favorite against Samford. They won by 52. My power rankings, though, when I make all the adjustments, including assuming that Jones plays at a good level, would favor Bama by 8. So this line is low at -4, but once again, a lot of uncertainty. I think the line values with Alabama, but it's a very difficult number to make this week.
You can get my predictions. Grab the link in the description section below next to Voice of College Football Community. The emphasis there is that you get an exclusive live stream with me per request, but I also throw my picks in. 11-6 against the spread. I pick all the top 25 games. That was 11-6 last week, 57% on the season. But there's your guy right there, prosportsinfo.com with Steve Merrill. He's the expert, NBA, college football, college basketball, and the NFL as well. So we're not going to hit these games this week. So you check Steve out on Pro Sports Info, including one with Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's obviously a huge game as well. So check out Steve's pick right there. All right, to the wild card selection of the week, Steve.
Yeah, this is a game not too many people be talking about. It's really not that great of a game, but that's what makes this one of our, under the radar picks that we like to look at. And let's take a look at Western Kentucky minus the 9.5. That's on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. They're hosting Middle Tennessee. Final game of the season for both teams. Middle Tennessee just 4-7. They will not be bowling this year. A lot of times teams come focused in that spot because this is their bowl game, but I don't think that'll be the case here. I think the focus spot for Middle Tennessee was last week in their home finale against Old Dominion. They were coming off back-to-back losses, including a home loss against Rice as a 13-point favorite. So it was a real focus spot to bounce back against a really bad Old Dominion team last week, and they did that, winning by 21. I don't think Middle Tennessee will have much left in the tank here. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky playing their home finale now, and they enter in great current form. A lot better than their overall numbers for the season as they won back-to-back games on the road against Arkansas and Southern Miss the last 2 weeks as a road dog. Normally you'd worry about a flat spot here after back-to-back road dog wins, but the fact that it's the home finale and I think they're peaking at the right time, I think we still get line value here with Western Kentucky minus 9.5 on Saturday afternoon.
Steve Merrill, Pro Sports Info, prosportsinfo.com. Please join him right there. Steve, we appreciate you stopping by again.
Thanks, Mark.